Yeah, for me, hope is a bridge between where you are in the moment before the realization of the new reality, and it's hope sustains us in that moment where we can actually muster the energy of hope. Then it will sustain us over to actually come into a point of a new energy which will rise. You've got to be brave to actually sustain hope. There needs to be braveness, there needs to be faith. And we have to be able to support ourselves, whether it's because of faith, support of others. I mean, if I had to say it really succinctly, I would say, yeah, I feel like it's that bridge. It's a bridge from being in one way to being in another. And hope is the bridge.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. We are focused on a great new book called Mission Hope. Char Murphy is pulling together some of the best authors from around the world contributing to this book. And today I have another great author, part of this big project. And I'm so glad to have Kathleen on the podcast with me, joining me. And we are going to talk about Kathleen's chapter in the book and all of the great stuff that are happening for Kathleen as well. Welcome to the podcast, Kathleen. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been great to just connect through a story. It's amazing, really.
It's nice, right? And to be able to connect with each other from different places in the world. And speaking of different places from where I am, if you haven't picked up on a slight accent from my guest, and I don't have an accent, by the way, but my guest, where are you joining us today, Kathleen? Where are you?
I'm actually a Londoner. I was born in London. But at the moment, I'm actually in Essex, but I have travelled around the world a lot.
Nice.
It's quite nomadic.
Great. Have you been to Canada?
I have, yes.
Good.
And I would like to go again.
Nice. Where in Canada have you been?
I went to Niagara Falls. I went to Toronto. I did a road trip. From Canada, started in Canada, and then went right across America and into Central America. Yeah, quite a journey.
So when that's where I live, near Niagara Falls. So what did you feel? What did you sense when you were at Niagara Falls? How did that feel for you?
Incredibly beautiful, powerful nature. How amazing and powerful nature is. And, no two waterfalls are alike. The impact of it was like I remember this feeling like, wow, sort of like takes your breath away because of the scale of it as well.
And just the sheer power of that water and how fast it's moving. And yeah,
definitely. You see the little boats, so small, they just look like little dots on a painting.
Well, I'm glad you got to come and see where I live. That I need now to return the favor and come and visit you someday. And you can show me the sights. That would be spectacular. What was the word you used?
Fantastical.
Fantastical. That's my word. I'm going to write it down right now. Here we go. Fantastical. Everyone at home, if you're keeping score, fantastical is the word for today. So everyone, please use fantastical in a sentence. And now we're back. Okay, that's great. So fantastical is the word. I'm going to call this episode something fantastical. So we'll work on that. Okay. All right. Okay. Kathleen, so you are part of Char's new book that's coming out. 18 authors getting together to write and share their story. Let's start with how you and Char connected about this book and how that all happened. Can you take us back to that initial connection between the two of you?
I've known Char for a number of years. Yeah.
Good.
We actually met online through a healing group. and we were doing multidimensional healing, no less. And then when Shah said, I'm going to put together a book, mission about hope, I raised my hand because I thought, yeah, I actually have something in my little mitt. Probably in a very sort of loose form. I do sketchbooks, and write little, short stories, really. So yeah, it was like, Shah asked, and I just moved into a new place and settling in, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So, really, from the time that I agreed, it was like just before Christmas, really, really full on kind of putting things together. And Shah worked really, really hard all over Christmas. I don't even know if she had an actual Christmas day where it was that restful. So yeah, through the holiday, she was like being Santa's little helper to deliver hope in a fantastical way.
Fantastical. Yeah.
And she was gathering the people, and she was sort of just bringing everyone together. The next thing you knew, it was like, okay, Mission Hope was like mission almost done. I mean, it's actually happened quite quickly. Yeah. But really, yeah, this is really all credit to Shah, because she's had that focus. I think, her amazing tenacity to kind of just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, she's a great leader. And from the other authors that I've spoken to so far, all a part of this project, a lot of high praise for Shar as a person and for bringing this all together. It's exciting. So, yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your chapter and your contribution to this book?
Yes, my chapter, funny enough, was written around the same time as now, but a few years ago, when I was going through an enormous change. I may have forgotten all about it. I didn't write it down, because I've got a goldfish brain. So luckily, in this instance, I had written a little book kind of like this, really. It had big sketchbooks and little sketchbooks. Some of them have got, coloured pages, but they're like my little sanctuary. And I was leaving a really difficult situation, which I won't go into that story. I like to start at the point of where I was sort of making this realization that there's no going back, and to the life that I had. It's like, and it was just before my birthday. And on my actual birthday, those few years ago, and it was almost like, kind of magic almost. There was a feeling of, as I ended up walking the neighborhoods of where I'm from, and it's interesting because some of my art actually looks to the Aboriginals and Indigenous people, and they have this thing that they walk the songlines. They walk to create the world, and they sang the songs of the trees to bring them to life, and they sung the songs of each soul and everything to bring it into being. And I felt like I was kind of doing another version of that for myself, but I was breathing myself back into life. A person that I think I'd sort of forgotten who I was because of, a very difficult situation. I don't think I realised how, even though I knew I was going through a difficult situation, I don't think I realised it's like I felt like I was sort of also being lifted and guided at the same time. Really nice things were happening. So at the same time, a big end. There was like a big end to one chapter. The next chapter, the new chapter, was already starting to merge into my life. And it was through going to my old neighbourhoods, like in East London and also in South Kensington. So I lived in some very different areas. And it was like, I didn't go there on purpose. I just realised that that's what I was doing. I was kind of in shock. I'm like, oh my God, I've done this. Yeah, I drew all the way through. And it was like a moment of time captured in that little capsule in my sketchbook. And it's quite sort of raw. In some ways, the way I write is not like Proust. I write like a girl from London. I write as I speak, so it's quite sort of down to earth in that sort of sense. So that's my chapter. It's really about the sort of messages and stuff that came through from my inner self, my higher self. I do Qigong, I do Raja Yoga. My birthday always coincides with Women's Day. And for many years, my sister and I actually did a number of different events in London, to honour International Women's Day. But I actually met a lot of amazing female artists, writers, in the South Bank of London, over the years. It was like my birthday and International Women's Day, because they are together. Sometimes Mother's Day is actually really close to currently actually on my birthday as well. But always International Mother's Day is kind of, always International Women's Day. So that always pulls my energy in. I've ended up speaking, I think the very last one, my sister and I did one together for Women of the World, and it was about sisterhood, our own sisterhood and how we've helped each other through our lives, but also the broader sisterhood and how, women are kind of, it's a time for women to support each other and help each other. And there's a lot of inequality in the world. There's a lot of change that is bubbling up, I think, in society, and creativity gives people a really good vehicle to make those changes. So yeah. Nice. So that was it. It was that period of time, and it's funny now I'm coming to this that period of time again, my birthday and International Women's Day, Mother's Day. I always sort of think of, my own mother, honouring motherhood. My own art is very much about women. I had an exhibition in Tokyo when I was quite young, still only in my 20s. And it was called Female. And it was actually about the cycles. It's about the cycles of nature, but women's interconnectedness with it, and about sort of the ideas of motherhood and sisterhood, but very much about sort of nature, Mother Nature, all of these sorts of things. Again, kind of, I didn't mean for there to be a theme through my life, but it has been, if I distilled everything, it would be, those, that relationships with women, especially creative women, and also women like Shah, just so had that amazing energy at this time. You know, I think women are starting to shine in a new way, and it's allowing men to be different. But we're all finding our way, because nobody knows how to do things, so that's why we have to be sisters and brothers in this world and really look after each other in this time, because it's a difficult and challenging moment to be around, but at the same time there are great opportunities as well. So yeah, the other thing is the environment, and my work has got these things: humanity, that's really peace. It's just focus on those things.
Yeah, exactly. So for the title of the book being Mission Hope, how would you define hope in relation to your chapter and your story? Do you have a definition of hope that means something special to you?
Yeah, for me, hope is a bridge between where you are in the moment before the realization of the new reality, and it's hope sustains us in that moment where whatever it is, whether somebody's had a diagnosis of something that's really devastating, whether it's, you know, whether it's your own or whether it's someone in your family, or whether it's something that happens in the world, or, or a situation which changes, which, can just feel like a tsunami. And it could even be a tsunami, whatever the situation is. We can actually muster the energy of hope, then it will sustain us over to actually come into a point of a new energy which will rise. You've got to be brave to actually sustain hope. There needs to be braveness. There needs to be faith. And we have to be able to support ourselves, whether it's because of faith, and support of others. I mean, if I had to say it really succinctly, I would say, yeah, I feel like it's that bridge. It's a bridge from being in one way to being in another. And hope is the bridge.
Nice. Nice. I love that. So one thing I asked of you before we hit record was, I'm asking each of the authors for this book to talk to Shar directly, and as if I'm not even here, just you and Shar. What would your message be to Shar about the book, about being involved in the book, about her as a person, wherever you want to go with this? But I would like you to now talk to Shar and just give your thoughts to her. And I'm hoping this will really encourage her, because she's encouraged so many people. So what would you like to say to Shar?
I would like to say to Shar, you are a very, very brave lady. You have risen again and again with challenges. And your kindness and gentleness in the face of real challenge, your humility, just like been really something to witness. Sometimes I've seen a challenge come and she's kind of gone, and she's like, oh wow, and she's come back and brings herself back into this beautiful, magical space where She's held the beautiful threads together. So I'm honored to be a thread in the tapestry that she has weaved. I think it's fantastical. And I think that she is fantastical.
Fantastical.
And I'm really looking forward to doing another. But, I really honor what she has brought in terms of her energy. And it's just been really a delight to actually do this. I really loved it very much. And I've been very grateful, to get to know her more as well.
Yeah. She is grace defined. When I talked to her, again, she was so focused on you as an author and all the other authors for this book. It was hard to get her to talk about herself. And that's just who she is, right? So I just would love to be the fly on the wall as she listens to this episode and to the other 17 episodes of the other authors, and hear and just watch and let her soak in these comments, because as much as she's encouraging you to write and to share your story, Shar has an amazing story, and that can inspire so many people as well, listening to her. So thank you for sharing that, by the way. And I'm sure that touches Shar deeply to hear from you. And so as a big picture for the entire book, what are you excited about when this book arrives on your doorstep and you finally get to hold it in your hands? What are you excited about in anticipation of this book?
I think the idea of being able to pass the hope to someone else in a tangible form. Stories are beautiful. The oral tradition of stories is fantastic. But actually something about having a little gathering of those stories. I actually did a little thing that was like, they were like a little constellation of beautiful stars together. Each little story is one of the stars in that constellation, and it's the constellation of hope. And I think as soon as I get my hands on it, I'm going to be reading the other stories. So really keen to do that as well, and to pass the hope on. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. So Kathleen, for those that are listening to the podcast and they would love to reach out to you and talk to you, and when your chapter comes out and the book comes out, they have comments and whatever, they want to talk to you. What is the best way for people to connect with you? Where are you most active online?
I'm a little bit on all social media, mostly Facebook. But my website has links through to everything, and that's just www.kathleenDuttonArt.com. My email is duttonkathleen8@gmail.com. But yeah, I'm on Instagram at Dutton Wong. I'm on Twitter at Dutton Wong. That's it. So there's plenty of ways to contact me. So if somebody else has got something that they want to do, I love collaborations as well. So, if there's a singer who's singing a song, maybe I can draw off them, or there's other ways to continue Mission Hope. Maybe moving into other arts.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love your creative spirit, Kathleen. I love hearing how you paint a picture with your words, and how you go to your sketchbook and draw as well. It's a very creative plane that you're on, and I really enjoy that. It resonates with me as a creative as well. So just want to encourage you with that, to keep going, keep that notebook close to you, that drawing book close, and keep writing too. Keep sharing your story, because stories help, right? Stories heal, they encourage, they motivate. Stories can change our life. So
They so can. It's like, if stories created the world, every creation story, from the Bible through to, it says in the Bible there is the word. And then in the indigenous cultures, they talk about, song lines and singing the world into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many different versions of how the word and how the vibration of what we speak is important. And it's important for it to be accurate in a way. I sort of mean like accurate in terms of the drama is being accurate within the drama, articulating in the direction of what we want in the world, little world, making a world, looking after the world. And as humanity, it is a perfect time for people to bring their stories in whatever way. People could hashtag Mission Hope and do a dance or do a song, do one word, do a hope, do a handprint with hope on it. There's so many different things that people can bring through the simplicity of the word. But actually continuing the solidarity of hope that we can, through working and being together as humans in the kindest way possible.
It's great. Kathleen, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And more importantly, thank you so much for being part of Mission Hope and working with Shar to lend your voice and lend your story to this great book. So it's awesome to have you here. And I'm so glad that we can connect. And we both have that mutual connection too of standing at the edge of Niagara Falls and feeling the power. And I think this book will be a connection for people to connect with you, just like we can connect about Niagara Falls. So thank you for being part of the podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, Shar, for making all this happen.
Absolutely. Shar, thank you so much for being the weaver of the tapestry and bringing the threads of our souls together for this.
And this podcast has been fantastical, everyone. Fantastical.
Fantastical.
The word of the day. Everyone, please use that in a sentence. And thank you so much, Kathleen, for being here. You, Kathleen, are fantastical.
Thank you so much. Fantastical too.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, thanks for being here for the podcast Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Came out March 24th, 2023. 18 amazing authors, all corralled by the amazing Shar Murphy. If you need some inspiration in your life, please go to the show notes. Follow the links. Go purchase the book. Gift it to someone. Buy copies and leave it in your waiting rooms of businesses or a dentist office. Just go out and buy the book and support these great authors. Many first-time authors, first-time podcast guests. A lot of firsts happening here. Shar Murphy, thank you. Dominic Damaski, publisher as well from Motivation Champs. Thank you so much for bringing together these amazing people and to have these authors on a podcast here to talk about their chapters is so great. So encouraging you, go out, check out Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Get your copy today. Thanks for being part of the podcast. Catch you on the next one.
Mindshift Power Podcast, the podcast for teenagers and those who work with them. There's a huge problem in America today. There's a very large disconnect between teenagers and the adults who work with them. I'm looking to bridge that gap with real, raw, honest conversation, not held back by the chains of political correctness. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. Want to understand teenagers today? Listen to this podcast. This podcast is for teens in the U.S. and Canada. To learn more, go to fatimabay.com/podcast or just look for Mindshift Power Podcast on any listening platform. I look forward to you being a faithful listener.